find a different degree of social reject in every artist. Social reject, introvert. If you're an introvert, there's a group for that, online and at school. I've had the technical skill to paint since I was 17. One day I just decided to paint my hand and in tempera, and it just worked. And I was amazed I could actually do this. In the 90s, I was a production artist, and I wanted to become a freelance artist. I wanted to be able to make creative decisions. So I've been focusing on doing commercial artwork, 3D animation, and illustration for 10 or 15 years. And I still do that day in, day out, but I don't draw and make paintings where I get to decide every decision in a painting down to every brush stroke. You have to have a way that invites people in to understand your art. Just because you base it off of pop culture or surrealism or classical art or whatever, well, that's just a way for people to approach your artwork and to get into it. I'm kind of trying to straddle both commercial illustration and fine art. So I was thinking, what do I have to do to get stuff in galleries? I need to find a theme to work with so I can have a show at the end of the year. I come up with 4 or 5 or 10 different paintings. So I got this idea of combining mythical holiday subjects with prehistoric creatures. Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, Jesus, Tooth Fairy, all that stuff. If I have a reason for doing any of this, it's just to sort of point out the silliness of all these things by combining them with what we know to be actual prehistoric beings. It's almost like I'm just making dinner conversation. I'm trying to make a quick little joke, which is kind of sad when you think about it. I'm putting all this effort into a quick little joke. This is probably the most controversial one. I don't think anybody will have a problem with the saber-toothed Santa or the fairy dactyl. There's just so much more to draw on with this. I mean, come on, there's 2 books of the Bible, and one of them is all about Jesus, so there's so much mythology about Jesus. You can say it's all literal, the whole Bible is exactly right, but of course it's not. You don't pass down a story for 2,000 years verbally and modify it and have all kinds of groups of Middle Ages clerics deciding what we're going to include and what we're not, and it's all going to be totally literal. So I'm bringing it down to the one-liner level, because if we can say that the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy and Santa are all just made up, well, this is also kind of made up. And I guess saying that it is all, so much of it is made up, that's controversial, sure. So a T-Rex has these tiny little arms. The idea is that Jesus has risen from the dead and he has the stigmata on his short little hand arms. I know that's terrible, but yeah, well, great. Look, you got me talking all about this. And now everybody else, hopefully they'll start talking about it, and it'll make the other simpler paintings without all this controversial worth something. And maybe somebody will buy them all up and want to put them in a calendar. Right now, the way I feel about my painting is the way I would have felt or maybe did feel in my 20s or 30s. I'm very, very excited about doing this and accomplishing it. I think the world's looking for something a little more robust, a little more engaging, with more appeal. It's tough to speculate about what they'll think literally. They laugh. And they stare at it, and they look at it, and they enjoy it, and then they talk about it. And that's, what more could you ask for? My end game is just to be able to paint what I want to paint. And I will reward the world with some neat stuff. It'll get out there. They would only back up those trucks of money to my door.